Hello. I just want to tell you about something that happened to me and how I went from like doing really great to being sobbing in about 30 seconds flat, and give you some, I guess, insight into dealing with really difficult times. And for those of you that don't know me, 2 years ago, my 5-year-old granddaughter was killed in a tragic accident. It was swept out to sea by a freak wave. As you can imagine, our whole world were turned upside down. Through that process, difficult as it was, I feel that I've learned some things that I'm certainly applying to my life now as we live through lockdown and dealing with this totally changed world that we're seeing around us. So I thought I'd share those with you today. In the old days, do you remember when the antivirus was updating and suddenly the computer would slow down and you just were trying to work and save and it wouldn't do that? That's how your brain is, because everything has changed, doesn't it? And so your brain is trying to process this. And so what that means is your capacity that might have been like that is probably down to this. And one of the things I find really helpful to envisage it is these. Before my granddaughter died, I could manage this much stuff. I could fill my plate and I could handle all of it. What I realized in the days and weeks afterwards, that I could probably manage this much. I couldn't fill this plate because I just couldn't function on that level. And so I had to be really gracious to myself and actually try and do a lot less stuff and actually be okay with not being okay. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is actually to accept that. I just want to tell you about what happened to me. It's totally bonkers. I got up really early, I was having a great day, and then I looked out the window and I saw a couple of vans out there to do with tree works, and they were getting out signs and they had a big lifting thing. Within that much amount of time, I was sobbing and just like, please don't cut my trees down. So if you find yourself losing at things that you wouldn't normally lose it at, that's okay. You haven't got as much capacity to deal with the normal stuff in life. And so something relatively small, like some vans outside that could be cutting down a tree, happens, and suddenly the world is ending. A really good friend said this to me: be kind to yourself. That was one of the best pieces of advice I ever had, because so often we can be kind and gracious to others, but we're actually pretty harsh on ourselves. And so actually being kind to yourself, allowing yourself to make mistakes, for it to be okay that you're not okay, that's being kind to yourself. And in this season that we find ourselves in, with our world changing so swiftly and so significantly around us, I think it's okay to not be okay. I just want to encourage you to be kind to yourself. Acknowledge that maybe you're not going to be able to do quite as much as you used to do, and that you have to accept that some days you'll be able to do less, and actually that's still a massive achievement in itself. And acknowledge that actually it's okay to not be okay. You can get through this. You might have to do it a day at a time, an hour at a time, or even a minute at a time, but you can get through this. I hope that's helpful. Thanks so much for watching.